Mina Kimes from ESPN and NFL Live. Thank you so much, Mina, for jumping on with us today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I saw that you said the national perspective, so now I feel pressure to represent the nation.
Well, it's been a very divisive offseason here in Chicago. This week has felt very, very different, but we do like to get the national perspective at times. And I guess my first question to you, Mina, is just what do you like or dislike about what the Bears have done this offseason? And do you have, I guess, a favorite move that they've made?
There's a lot to like. Talked about this a little bit on my show. By the way, if you guys are listening, check it out. The Mina Kimes Show featuring Lenny. You can subscribe on YouTube as well. A lot of Bears talk these days. Going to be a lot of Bears talk leading up to the draft. But yeah, I guess we can start with the offense. Really, just the situation that they're putting Caleb Williams in. Maybe I think is excellent. I thought a number of the additions they've made are great. Starting with the hire of Shane Waldron, who we can talk about. Obviously know pretty well being the offensive coordinator in Seattle. I think the weapons that they've acquired make sense with his offense, ranging from like a signing that got like a little bit less attention, like Gerald Everett at tight end, allowing him to run more multiple tight end sets. I think Keenan Allen, and this is something I've been very opinionated about, is such an amazing addition for a rookie quarterback, and in particular this rookie quarterback. So I really like those additions. Thought the Swift signing was rich financially, but the player I really like, and I like what he does for that running back room.
So, Mina, let's go back to Justin here, and I'm wondering if you think the NFL got it wrong, because clearly the Bears were going to move on. He's traded for a 6th-round pick in 2025 that can turn into a 4th. A lot of teams went after quarterbacks this year, and the best he could find was to back up Russ in Pittsburgh. Do you think the NFL is missing something on Justin, or they got it right?
I think the truth is probably somewhere in the middle, where I think a lot of us in the media, I would include myself in this group, and I think a lot of Bears fans too, were probably a little too high on Fields, certainly relative to how he's perceived around the NFL. But I also think that the idea that he's worth less than some of these other backup quarterbacks who have changed spots, and also, previous starters like Sam Howell going to Seattle, Desmond Ridder going to Arizona. I would rather have Justin Fields than either of those players, for example, right? So the fact that we'll see if that 6 turns into a 4th, and then obviously the value, you're looking at a different thing. And of course, the finances affect that, with teams being not interested in picking up his 5th-year option. But to me, he has flashed enough, and obviously some pretty difficult circumstances at times in Chicago. I would rather take a flyer on him. So to see him valued below some of those players, I do think was incorrect.
Mina, we have a question from one of our listeners here at CHGO, and they wanted to ask you, given what the Bears have done this offseason, what they could do in the draft, what would constitute a successful 2024 season?
Caleb Williams has to look like the guy. That's it. I mean, it would be, obviously this is a defense that's that improved pretty dramatically last year, finished as arguably the best run defense in the NFL. We'll see what they can do in terms of improving coverage and getting after the quarterback. So, coming off of that, I can understand why fans would be talking playoffs. Are we a wild card team? Is Matty Eberflus on the hot seat if we don't make it? I get that, but given the way, everything you've obviously been through as Bears fans with the quarterback position, also just all of the decisions that led to this moment, Williams needs to look like it was worth it. Frankly, that's success. Much more so than making the postseason. You want the young quarterback to look like he was the right choice.
All right, Mina, dump your Seattle knowledge on us here for a second.
Yeah.
You mentioned Shane Waldron. It's been an interesting time trying to break down that hire, because we had Gerald Everett last week rave about Shane Waldron. We've definitely heard a lot of that. We also had a very viral moment at the Super Bowl with Jackson Smith and Jigba when he that was us, where he paused for, it seemed like forever, and we didn't even really know how to handle it in the moment. Obviously he has his feelings about the former offense coordinator Seahawks, now the Bears. So we've been trying to figure out exactly what the Bears got here. What do you want to share about Shane Waldron and what you think the Bears got?
I think he's a good coach. I did see the JSN clip, and JSN being the first receiver taken coming into an offense where he was immediately the number 3. I have to think that probably factored into usage. Probably you guys know how receivers are.
Oh, yeah.
Throw me the ball, right? I get it. And look, that's why what makes a receiver great is that confidence. Like, I would be disappointed if he didn't think he shouldn't have gotten more targets, because that signals he has the right mentality. So putting that aside, Waldron, I think there's a lot to like. There's some similarities to Sean McVay's offense, which itself has evolved over the years, and that's the tree that he comes from with the Rams. But they also did certain things differently in Seattle. One of the things I alluded to, the use of tight ends was really a hallmark of his offense over the last 2 years, not just 12, but 13 personnel, which, we can talk the Bears pick at 10. I mean, that was, I think, the first place where or 9, pardon me, where I put Brock Bowers ? There's other needs. I get maybe that's not the pick. Value weighs into it, but man, Shane Waldron would love having Brock Bowers, Cole Kmet, and Gerald Everett, and you would see those players on the field a lot. He's very creative with his use of formations, a lot of really unconventional looks you will see. Which he used to great effect to get one-on-ones, get leverage for his playmakers. I think in the run game, it's typically you associated with that sort of wide zone run game, but which is a good fit, I think, by the way, for the Bears and the players that you do have. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see that continue evolving as well.
So I want to get away from football for just one quick left turn. And, we've gotten a ton of flack on this show because we've talked about Justin, and there's some diehard Bears fans who just are very in their feelings on it, and we get it. And I'm just thinking about you doing your job as well as football in this space, being a woman, some people just loving you just because they love you, and some people just coming at you, nothing. I'm just curious, how have you built the muscles to handle everything that comes with being on the platform that you've created for yourself?
It's just not about you, I think, is usually if someone's mad, for example, if I'm positive about the Bears, every Bears fan in this will be like, she's the best, really knows her shit, right? And then if I was to say something negative, I remember, frankly, not to I'm keeping score, but when I was very negative about Mitch Trubisky, candidly, as an analyst, I didn't think he was the guy. I didn't like him as a prospect, whatever. And Bears fans hated me for a couple of years. And it has nothing to do with who you are. It really is just whether fans feel good about the way you're talking about their team. So that's how I feel.
We needed that advice 3 weeks ago, I think, but that's a really well said. Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, Mina, if Caleb Williams is the guy that I think a lot of people expect him to be, can the Bears realistically compete in this NFC North? Not just actually compete, but actually be right up there with Detroit, Green Bay, and whatever happens with Minnesota. But can they?
I think it's a good question because, well, I guess there's some nuance there. If it's year 1, I think it's going to be a little bit challenging. Year 2, absolutely, especially the way this defense has gone. Arguably could be the best defense in the division next season. Green Bay is kind of the consistent underperformer on that side of the ball, although I did like some of the additions they made in free agency, to be honest, and that they finally made a coaching change, I think was pretty significant. And the Lions, also fantastic run defense, actually similar to the Bears, struggled a little bit in coverage. For me with Williams, it's, after seeing what CJ Stroud did and really Jordan Love in his rookie season, I understand the temptation to say, well, we want Williams, who's the number 1 pick, to come in and play at that level immediately. But, I would say, again, that's not really the goal year 1. I'm very high on him as a prospect. He is my number 1 and has been from the beginning. I know there's some of my colleagues, in fact, have been putting other quarterbacks in the mix there. But I would urge patience.
Yeah, I mean, let's get into Caleb a little bit then. What are you so excited about with him? We're certainly excited in Chicago, and we've been watching this for a while now because we could kind of see where things were headed with Justin. But why are you so high on Caleb Williams?
There's a lot to like, and I'll start by saying this: I liked him more after going back and watching the tape, because I watched him obviously over the course of his career, like everyone else. USC, big games here and there. You see the highlights, amazing. But I think during the season, before I really get into watching these prospects, I was very, I wouldn't say suspicious, but I think I was kind of put off by his unwillingness to play in structure, Some of the hero ball, I was like, I don't know, this is a little bit worrying, especially I imagine Bears fans too. You're probably a little bit traumatized when you hear a long time to throw after what you've watched the last few years. But then when you watch Williams, the first thing I thought, there's two things that really jump out. Oh my God, USC was bad. And we know the defense is bad. Everybody knows that. But I think I didn't really appreciate the level of adversity he was facing on offense in terms of pass protection, drops. Sometimes conceptually, I didn't quite understand what they were doing. So a lot of the hero ball was not, it was born of necessity, shall we say that. And then the other thing, which by the way, is a very stark contrast from Fields, who played in a relative paradise in college, and I think had the reverse happen when he came to the NFL. I think you're going to see the opposite with Williams, where he's actually going into from a relative perspective, better situation in Chicago, which is huge, right? Because you've seen him overcome adversity, and now I think he's going to face less, candidly. And then on top of that, I think the other thing that really jumped out to me was, yes, at times you're like, throw the ball, like playing structure. But when he does, it looks great. He can make all of the routine throws, short, intermediate, deep. He throws with touch. He throws with accuracy. He sets up his receivers to get yards after the catch. He throws to all parts of the field. He throws to the middle of the field. So for me, it's really just a question of willingness more than ability.
I heard Super Bowl. I don't know what you guys heard, but that's where I got to. Hey, last one for me real quick, Mina. Did the Bears make the right decision keeping Matt Eberflus as their head coach? There was a lot of talent out there. I know it's putting you on the spot, but
I know. This is I'm much more conflicted about this than the field stuff, honestly, because I really thought they would move on. And I think just the defense played so well at the end. It was hard. And I think with a young quarterback too, you get nervous about not having an offensive-minded coach, because if Waldron crushes it with Williams, he is going to be a head coach candidate last year. But you could have said the same thing about D'Amico Ryans and Bobby Slowick, who stays with CJ Stroud for another year. I ultimately, I kind of wish they had considered, frankly, because there were just so many incredible candidates out there. But I don't think it was like a total... because of what this defense did and how much better they played and how well coached they look, frankly, I understand why they gave Eberflus a second shot. Plus, have you seen him in the offseason? The hair, oh my God.
Yeah.
It looks amazing.
Well, before we let you go, Mina, we really appreciate it. Our next guest is Carmi V, and we wanted to bring in here to say hi to
you. What's up?
Hi, Mina. Hi, guys. I haven't seen you guys in a while.
Oh, man. Best.
Yeah, well, we're transitioning here, but Mina, thank you so much for jumping on. We really appreciate it today.
Thanks for having me. You guys upgraded bringing in Carmi. So.
Oh God, stop it, Mina. Say hi to Lenny, please. Give him some cuts for me.
I will. Take care. Bye, guys.
We all silly like the mayor.